Terence Crawford goes for three-time undisputed as he starts his campaign at 154, fighting Israil Madrimov. Great, I want to go straight into it. Terence Crawford moving up again to 154. What do you think about Terence Crawford from 147 to 154 that we're going to see similar, and what struggles might he have?
I think this is going to be more towards his natural weight, similar to when people are saying that Spence was at 147 for too long. I also believe that Crawford said himself, like, this cut's not been the most healthy, so it's not the nicest on his body, so this is going to be more welcome to him. Like, how much is that? 7 pounds? So, you know, that's a big world difference. So it will be interesting to see just, I don't know what his walking around weight is, but having not to cut, to 147 is probably going to be beneficial to him. Now it gets intriguing because seeing pictures of Madrimov, he looks like a big 154. So if Crawford wants that, that title shot against Canelo Alvarez, this is going to be a big match to see how he deals with the size difference in opponents. But that guy Crawford, man, that's a killer right there. That's a mercenary right there.
It's interesting you say this, because I was going to say to you that when you move up, like I said, it's 7 pounds, but it's 7 pounds you don't have to drop, rather than 7 pounds you actually have to gain. When you look at Crawford's natural way of fighting and stuff, what do you think helps him moving up that 7 pounds? He could just be like, okay, I can just transition that particular part of my game still over. Like, is it skill set? Are we going to see a bit more power? What do you think we're going to see from Crawford moving at 154?
I think that's going to be an interesting thing to see how the power translates. I think skill set wise, he's brilliant boxer, switch hitter. He can do both angles. So it's just going to be a case of, can he put someone down with his sharpness? He's very good on the counter. I think that's his thing where a lot of people don't realize it's not, the knockout doesn't just come from a one bang. It comes from countering. It comes from like slick combinations and such. So it'll be interesting to see that at the end of combos or when he does counter Madrimov, can he drop him? If he can't drop him, I still think he can outbox him. But the size difference is going to be the main factor to see how you would bear if he was to go up another weight class.
I was going to say, I'll talk about Madrimov soon, but with Crawford in this fight, like you said, it's the fact that he's able to counter hit and stuff like that. So he's very smart in being able to probably download the information, as we always try to say. But in terms of maintaining the distance to a point in this fight, especially early on, how important do you think that will be? And then obviously, like you said, most likely using the jab to maintain that distance as well.
It's absolutely going to be important. Madrimov is coming into this fight as those who know him. I'm sure, Bud's team is, researching this guy and taking him very serious. Bud's never been a guy to take things lightly. He'll definitely go into there, studied the opponent. But for us people, that's just, whether we're casuals or people in the know, I'm not going to act like I know too much about Madrimov, but what I've seen of him is a very powerful guy, like very good champion. I think because he's commercially unknown, people think that this is one of those fights where it's just like a showcase for Terence Crawford, where it's like, no, this could be a banana peel if he doesn't take this seriously. So it'll be interesting to see with Terence Crawford, is especially with a year off. Obviously, he would rather have not had a year off, but the whole contract dispute of the rematch with Spence, and now he's getting that Turkey money. So listen, man, I'm just hoping that he puts on a great performance. I'm not trying to hear this him versus Boots stuff. It's too early for Boots. I'm sorry, it is what it is. Dominate your division. I get it, because he wants to get that scalp on his resume before it's done. But I feel like with Boots, focus on what you're doing now in garnering that big crowd in Philadelphia. And for Bud, this is a situation where it's like you're on a victory lap of your career. Go get paid, man. And if it means 154 collecting the belts and becoming undisputed there, then so be it. The Canelo fight, I don't know if it's there. Maybe he needs to become undisputed at 154, or unified at least, to get the Canelo fight. But I also can't see Canelo coming down to 168. And there's weight classes for a reason.
I was going to say, I personally, I've said it plenty of times, if you're going to make your final fight, maybe your final fight towards the back end, I don't think Canelo makes any sense outside of financially. But now that you said he's got the Turkey money as well. So how much money?
So go on.
I was going to say, how much money really is the Canelo fight going to make when you're headlining the card in LA? And this is the first Riyadh season card with Turkey with his backing. Like, realistically, it doesn't. For me, what I
Canelo
want to see.
money is still, do you know what
Oh
it
no,
is?
Canelo money is different money.
Canelo money is different, and the fact that your boy's been ducking big fights, so
Yeah,
the name recognition for Crawford and Canelo will draw a lot of casual eyes, especially if he puts on a performance now at a higher weight class. He might be like, cool. If he puts in a performance, he might say, either I'm getting all the belts at 154, I'm becoming undisputed here, making history if he gets the money for it. Or if the Canelo fight's there, he might, he might throw out a little bait for Canelo just to let him know that, listen, I'm stopping guys at this weight class too. So if you want some, come get some.
yeah, stopping it 2 divisions earlier than Canelo. Canelo's 168. But
Listen, man.
for me personally, like I said, there's one road that this 154 journey leads to. That's him potentially holding a belt. That's Errol Spence Jr. holding a belt, and we run a rematch. That's what I would really like. But I want to go on to the champion. Like you said, from a casual perspective, even for people who do watch boxing, he may not necessarily be known, but he's fought under the Riyadh season card where he won the world title. And in that performance, I believe he probably went in as the underdog and displayed a lot of power and was able to get the job done and get the job done quite early. As the champion, when you look into it, a lot of the focus is Terence Crawford. And we know why he is, because commercially he's the biggest star. Turkey's obviously got the backing there. But are you feeling a bit disrespected, thinking you're moving up? I look like even Drago in terms of the size and everything, and I'm not really getting the respect I deserve.
It's disrespect. At the same time, you also got to know the landscape of the field. If you are not, you just got to know the landscape of the field. You're not the box office guy. It's different. I think it's not, there's the difference in being disrespected, and then there's a difference between you're just not known. And I think with Madrimov, it's like you're just not known, but I've not heard any disrespect on his name in terms of, oh, it's going to be easy for Terence Crawford to just go in there, beat him up, get a quick payday, and then keep moving. If more people are more interested in seeing how good is Terrance going to look, rather than it being a disrespect of who's Madrimov. So I think, especially with the character that Terence Crawford is, he doesn't go in there talking down on people. He speaks up on him. Him and his team have spoken up on Madrimov. But at the end of the day, commercial-wise, you already know who we've come to see. So if you're Madrimov, do the smart thing, play the game, be the B-side, and go in there to take, to put the world on notice. Because now, after that victory against Errol Spence, which is coming up to a year now, it's like there's going to be a lot of eyes on Terence Crawford. So if you can go in there and make a name for yourself, in the words of JR, when Undertaker first Jeff Hardy, go make yourself famous, kid.
I will say this. Shout out to the WWE. Everyone loves a wrestling reference.
Come on.
I'll say this about Madrimov. I think what he needs to do for me personally is show that power. I always say this. When a fight is moving up and you're fighting a guy who's not at that way, make them feel your power and then make them understand, okay, this is going to be a fight. But at the same time, you said it before, Terence Crawford downloads information from time to time, and he can counter punch very well. And I think that's where, when I look at Madrimov, if you're fighting on the inside, don't be sloppy with it. Mm-hmm. And I think that's going to be so key in this particular fight in terms of how he goes about executing the game plan, but also being smart with it. Do you think, based off the way, if he comes out aggressive, he can win a few rounds, that his team will look back in the corner and be like, okay, we're up a couple of rounds early, and just build a bit of extra confidence going into, let's say, round 60.
Are you saying on Madrimov's side or Terence Crawford?
On Madrimov's side, if he showcases he wins a few extra rounds, like how much confidence will that be if he can get the first, let's say, 3 out of 4 rounds?
I think it depends on his personality. I don't know Madrimov's personality too much, but if you're getting comfortable, it reminds me of like when it was Canelo and Bivol. And then we went in there and we saw more of Bivol's personality that we haven't seen before, because before it's kind of like he's not been pushed, but when the lights got bright, Bivol's not Harry Kane, he got brighter and he went in there and put on a performance. So it might be a case of you're gonna go in there, be disciplined, because that's the thing with Bivol. He didn't get carried away. He stayed disciplined, even when, you know, Canelo was trying to bait him into a dogfight and the crowd was giving him, like, you know, geeing him up after he had success. And Bivol would just go reset and be like, nah, you're not gonna trick me out of my position. So Madrimov, it'll be interesting to see if his demeanor is you get lost in the sauce once you get some success. But then also the scary thing with Terence Crawford, we saw with the Sean Porter fight, where he can flip a switch in the middle of the fight. I remember there was a clip of, I think, 10th round, and then they told Bud Crawford, like, you know, you're down on the score.
Yeah.
He was just like, what? Went out there, got the knockdown, next round, got another knockdown, stop the fight. So both sides have to be in their P's and Q's. I've never known Terence Crawford to cheat the game, so I don't expect him to do that now. And Madrimov, this is your opportunity to make this an exciting fight and, you know, make it a big occasion. So live up to the occasion. All I can ask is that you go there, live up to the occasion and have a good fight. But it's still going to be Team Bud over here.
I was going to say, just one quick question before we wrap up then. Bud's towards the back end of his career, moving up to 154. Financial backing from Turkey has obviously got him as one of the American ambassadors. How long do we have left of Terence Crawford, in your opinion, in terms of activity and years in the game?
2-3 fights. I think if he can't get the Canelo fight, if the Canelo fight is not enticing enough for Saul to take it, then I think he's just going to unify and become undisputed at 154, and then he'll probably call it a day, because there's no one at middleweight. There's not a big enough name at middleweight to, I guess, probably entice him. And this is where I love one of my favorite athletes, Georges St. Pierre, where he knew where enough was enough. And sometimes being a competitor, it's hard sometimes to know when to stop. But I hope that for Terence Crawford, he feels accomplished enough. If he can get 154 undisputed, where he just goes, do you know what? This is it. This is me. Like, there's not going to be a bigger payday, so let me just stop here. Middleweight's not sexy, so if I can get undisputed at 154, if I can get that, you know, if Errol Spence does his side of things, and, you know, we can get the rematch, a big rematch for Spence versus Crawford, that'll be the best way for both of them to retire, actually. If both of them done that big fight and they just said, you know what, Spence goes, yo, this is me, I've done it. And then if Crawford then follows up and says, likewise, this is me, I'm done. Or maybe after that, then we can get Crawford for first Boots, because then Boots would have had more time to see if he's the guy, and then he can come out to 154. But for now, let's just keep it Bud Crawford, undisputed 154, 2025. Let's book that.
Hey, listen, I'll be honest with you. For me, the dream ending is that Errol Spence Jr., Terence Crawford, one last run, win, lose, or draw for both guys. Just call it a night, and everyone would be happy. Like, share, subscribe. Until next time, peace.